This episode brought to you by Baby Ceresaurus, they're babylicious. Hello YouTube, this is Lucky Wolf G.
And Coffee Meister.
And we are the TCG Puppets. Just going to bring you a deck profile. It's one of my older ones, it's my insect deck. It's been a bit revamped because of new cards being released and all sorts, but basically it's the same as it was before. Just a couple of new cards. Anyway, let's just get started with it with two Ultimate Insect level 3s. These basically are just here for start of chain for level 5 to level 7 and for targets for my howling insects. Next up, it's two level 5s, my ultimate level 5. Basically just get them out through level 3, start decreasing attack points by 500, really nice. And then just basically them out for Ultimate Insect level 7. Basically just get a nice attack point decrease, really that's all it is. I mean 2600 attacker, but it's attack and defense decrease actually, what am I saying?
Attack and defense decrease by 700 so I can run over Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I run over most stuff for 3000 attack points, it's about 3-3 you need to start getting screwed over.
Yeah.
Ish. But it's really hard to get out of them against Glad Beasts.
Yes, as we found out in the last 7 duels we had.
Bloody hard. Now for the main hitter of this deck, which is Triple Doom Dozer. You're guaranteed to get insects in your graveyard from this deck. Absolutely guaranteed. And if you're as lucky as opening hands as I am, or used to be, this deck needs to get warmed up again. But basically, 28 beat sticks, make your opponent mill card when they inflict bad damage.
Yeah.
Whenever you do damage, it's nice. Whenever discard and fix damage. Or whenever you inflict damage, wrong terminology. Next up is, I still believe this card's the core of this deck, basically the main cards that make this deck run, which is Triple Howling Insect. Basically these are for bit of defense, bit of getting out your ultimates at level 3 so you can start the chain going on, getting out pin shoppers and anything else you want to just block off your opponent with, or start to loop stuff up with the other monsters. They start off so many good combinations in this deck. But yeah, it's basically just they get struck battle. You get summon a special summon insect with 1500 less attack points. Thank you, Ultimate Insect level 3 for being 1300 attacker. Yes! Next up is Double Pinch Chopper. Basically just to get insects from, special summon insects from my hand. If they're removed from the field, sent to graveyard, you then get special summon insect from your hand. It's basically for getting out higher level 5s or level 7 Ultimate Insects, or just other insects in my hand if I need it for a bit more extra defense, really. Yes, I've just realised how defensive this deck actually is, but then again that's how I planned it to be. Next up is another main hitter of this deck, which is Double Chainsaw Insect. Nice 24 beat stick.
Level 4.
Level 24 beat stick, nothing really more to be said. He makes your opponent draw as well whenever he attacks or is attacked. It's nice sometimes, depends on the situation and what you're facing, really. Infernities win. Good card, bitch. Next up is Man-Eater Bug. One of these, I really want to put 2 back in again so badly, but it's a 40 card deck. I mean, one does its job. Just eat stuff.
Plus with the amount of negation that's for those sort of things.
Yeah, there's too much negation nowadays as well. It makes it really difficult to actually do anything. Fucking Stardust. Next up is just the 3 tuners of this deck, which is going to be a Delta Flyer for getting into level 7s and level 8s.
Due to its effect.
Yeah. And then Crabons and Infernity Beetle. Basically, their sole purpose in this deck is to get into level 6 Underground Arachnid. They can get into level 7 if they synchro them with level 5, which really is not their purpose, but can come in handy for getting out 2 of my synchro monsters. Next up is magic cards. A couple of magic cards. First off is Fish. Time to fish. Fisher just basically gets some monster destruction going on. Basically, it helps clear the field so you can start getting out bigger. This helps. You can clear the small stuff out of the way and then hit the big stuff with Fisher, and it gets them out of the way. Next up is Hand Destruction. In my old deck, it was a 2. It worked then, but as I've been replaying this and going through things, it now doesn't work as well as it used to. It's still in there for a quick Doom Dozer play. If I get it in the opening hand with Doom Dozer and 2 insects, It's just opening Doomdozer is still always lols. Next up is Magical Mallet, which is sole purpose. Thank you. Which sole purpose is to
Give you a
reset
refresh.
hands. Reset hands, and usually it always comes in when I have a bad hand, especially in the openings. It's really helpful. You know, could just change up how you're going to play the duel anyway. Anyway, next up is Pot of Avarice. Basically, just to get back any monsters I want from my grave, which mostly is going to be Ultimate Insects, Tuners, or Doomdozers. Sometimes Howling Insects or Pinch Hoppers and maybe even Chainsaw Insects, but it's mostly just for Ultimate Insects and Doomdozers. Next up is a bit more monster destruction of Lightning Vortex. My shiny Lightning Vortex, super, haha. But no, basically just to get rid of my opponent's monsters. I'm still debating whether to change it out for Dark Hole or not, but the problem with that is that I want my monsters to be on the field, not my opponents. So, you know, what you guys think, let me know. Next up is Monster Reborn, staple.
Yeah.
Get revives, get out synchros, basically, sole purpose. Next up is some back row destruction with double LMST. Staple, you know, hit some back rows. And a card I thought I would never ever use, Heavy Storm. Because I realised that I have so little back row destruction and Heavy Storm can just help when people fill up too much. Evilness.
It's my old style to play, but
Okay,
I
now
don't play too much now.
on to traps. I play mostly defensive traps, as people should know by any of the other deck videos I've seen. I've done deck videos they've seen. It still works. It works. Anyway, just a couple of staple ones for me first. Double Compulse. Get around bigger monsters. Bounce them away from you. Get out of my face. Double Magic Cylinder. It's one of my games. Nothing more to be said at all, really. It negates the attack, reflects it back at your opponent. I mean, it's really quite nice. And then Deep Prisons! Legendary Collection! Thank you so much for giving me 2 Deep Prisons. Oh, yes, get around stuff. That's the sole purpose of this card. Get around stuff on these cards. I've got to get my grammar right. Next up is Nag Attack, because nagging your opponent is fun. Nagging your opponent is fun. Next up is Force, because it's just stable. And then Starlight Road to protect me from my opponent's Dark Holes. Not necessarily Heavy Storms, because I'll play. I don't fill up my spend track zone that much. I should do, but well, you know, why are they upside down? Yeah. And last trap card is Solemn Warning. Purpose to stop my opponent from summoning monsters that are going to scare me. Okay, next up now is the extra deck, which is all Synchro monsters. I do not have an Exceed that works for this deck yet. In fact, I only have 1 Exceed. One Exceed. Yes, I win. First off is 2 Underground Arachnids. They're a bit hard to get out, you know, 1 Dark Tuner with 1 or more Insect Tuners, but they make up for it with their effects. 2400 attackers, and their effect is you can absorb one of your opponent's monsters, and if this card's typed for attack type, you destroy the crit monster instead of this card. And when this card attacks your opponent, no spells or trap cards can be activated in that. Well, no spells that target this card can be activated in that trap.
Until the end of the damage step, you can't
Thank you.
activate traps.
Thank you, Coffee Master. My voice is not working, and it's starting to go. Next up is the level 7 Scrap Archfiend, just for a 27 beat stick, really. Nothing really more to be said about him. Black Rose.
Nuke the field.
Nuking the field. Basically, that's its sole purpose, is to nuke the field. Next up is a double Stardust Dragon, because Stardust wins you games and protects me from lots and lots of stuff, and one's basically in there for Starlight Road and one's in there for Synchroing into. And Stardust is awesome. I would have a Dragonfly Archfiend in this deck, but yeah. Actually, that might be a better choice than this guy, but no. Infinity Doom Dragon is my last one. He's in here basically because I do end up with empty hands quite a lot. But he's a 3000 beat stick, and he's basically the most powerful monster in this deck at the moment. But yeah, let me know what you let me know what you think. Give me any suggestions that I can improve on. Not Verdant Sanctuary.
It's the amount of people,
Not
times
Verdant
people have said that,
Sanctuary.
and you just said no. Even I agree that
This deck doesn't need
don't
it
need
under
it.
the purposes of the fact that you're running triple honey, inserting double pinch shopper. You don't need anything else than that. But comment, rate, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing, you know. But this is Lucky Wolf G
Coffee Meister.
and Baby Sarah Saras. Ah!
Goodbye.
Goodbye.